Okay, good evening, everybody. I know it's 2 minutes after 7. I'm just waiting for our guest speaker to join, and I'm wondering where he is. So let's give it till 5 past, and then hopefully by then he would have joined. So if you want to go grab yourself a quick coffee or something stronger, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Then yeah, you can just do that quick, and then hopefully by 5 past we'll be ready to begin. Okay, so I think I figured out where the confusion came in. In my initial message to him, I said we will begin at 7:30. But then when I considered everything plus time for a QA for your summative, I reworked it and sent the invite for 7, thinking that he would read the invite, but possibly he didn't and maybe is going to join at 7:30. So we can, in the meantime, if you have questions about the summative, you can start asking them now. And the session is being recorded for anyone who wants to join later. Let me just make sure it is definitely being recorded. But first, just to touch base before we get into all, the heavy stuff, how is it going for everybody? Are you excited that we are at the end? I mean, literally, this is our penultimate lecture that you're going to have with me. We just have this CURS and then next week, we just have the TLHE Q&A for part 3. And then that's it. Your first year is done. So how are you feeling? How is everything going on your side? Any concerns? Anything wonderful happening in your space? Um, I've just been really busy with home renovations. So I don't know if anyone else here is from Cape Town, but while I'm speaking, please type and let me know how you are doing just while I'm speaking. So yeah, I was saying, I don't know if anyone else here is from Cape Town. I'm relatively new. So what I noticed is winter here lasts for about 5 months and it's rain and it's wind and it's insane. And then at the end of it, your property gets quite a beating. And so you have the remaining 7 months to try and get as much home renovation as you can. So like wooden window panes and things like that don't last here. And the building contractors are super, super busy and they are super, super expensive. Compared with KZN, I was so surprised just to get a plumber to come and look at a block drain here. It's like I think the call out is now about 750 rand just to get him to your door. And then of course there's a separate bill for everything he does, and that doesn't happen in KZN. People come and do the work and then they're like, okay, it's about 200 rand, type of thing. So that really surprised me. But anyway, so that's what I've been really busy with and stressed about amongst everything else going on and lots of research. So I've been really enjoying that space. Um, Cape Town tax is real. It is severe. So Kavi says, apologies for missing the last two. Kavi, I'm so sure I saw you in the last session. I'm almost certain, or was it just Peter and myself? I remember who else was there, sort of Sunette. I think you were at the last one, but I'm so sure. Lucy, I remember you at the last one. I'm so sure that Kavi was there, or did I just imagine it? And now you're telling me apologies for missing the last two. It's a wall a bit and being man down. It's beautiful and all that, but I hate springtime so much. Oh goodness. Is it the sinusitis and the pollen and all those things? Yeah, I've also had really, really bad allergies for the past month. Unbelievable. Almost exam time, lots of marking in my future. Oh, Sunette, I do not envy you. Um, Yeah, exam time is always that marking dragon that you have to slay. And just as soon as you finish slaying one, the next one comes in. And sometimes you're still busy working your way through one, and then the next one is there at your door already. So yeah, that's where I think all these little strategies that we were speaking about in TLHEB might come in helpful, handy, I hope. But okay, anybody else? How are things going? Where are you at? Um, Anyone? Feel free to just type in the chat box. So because there's so few of us, you can just unmute. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mute and give you the floor to ask any questions you have pertaining to CURS. And then what we will do is Willard will come in and he will do his little guest speaker presentation that he's been working very hard on today for you. So yeah, let's do some questions that you have based on the summative. If you want to unmute and ask, just raise your hand and do so, so we don't have everyone unmuting at the same time. Or if you want to type in the chat box, you can do that also. So I'm going to be muted, but I'm still sitting here. I'm not gone anywhere. Oh, just to give you proof of life. I'm here, right here. So I'm just going to be muted, but I am here, and then you can just pop your questions in the chat box or unmute, and then we can discuss the summative. Kavi, do you just want to unmute and just let me know which background part? Question 2. I've got the assignment open. Oh, course background and challenges. So you're asking, should we
No,
include a
that's
motivation of sorts? Okay, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
yeah, no, that's just going through everything. Um, like because I feel what I'm designing is more original than not. So should it be discipline specific to me, or do I have a little bit more freedom there? And what I did have in mind, like contextually, a motivation explaining how and why I got to this module made sense.
You can certainly include that. It's not required. But if you want to include that, then by all means go ahead. So for course background and challenges, it's literally just that. It's literally just providing what the background, the lecturer characteristics, pedagogical challenges, what resources you require, just things like that as is listed. But if you want to provide a motivation, I think that's a very good idea. Like, why did you select this particular module? By all means, yes, you can definitely include that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then situational factors. Would I be
Mm-hmm.
taking it too far if, like, I included multi-campus lecturing or, the situational thing really of that going from matric to first year? Would that be a situational factor?
Um, I think yes, it could definitely be. So are you speaking specifically about preparedness, Kavi? Like student preparedness from um, high school to tertiary?
Yeah, I think readiness might be a better way to frame it.
Most certainly, if it's pertinent to your module, then it can certainly fit in. I give you an example of how to structure that part on situational factors. I think it's in the PowerPoint presentation. Let me just see if I can pull it up quickly, and then I'll tell you exactly which slide to refer to because it shows you a very nice example of how students previously structured that question. And if it's not there, then I can just share it with you. I'm sure I did include it though. Let me just find it. Okay.
It's there, but it's more like the notional hours.
Okay, so you want to, I just want to see where I put it exactly. Here, okay. Oh, situational factors, the teaching and learning context. Yeah, so basically it's all that background stuff about the module. And then you said you want to include in there, something about, are you speaking specifically about the skills that students need to come into the module possessing, or what specifically do you want to include there pertaining to preparedness or readiness?
So that's basically the module I'm designing it around is the academic preparedness part. Because
Oh,
what
so
I
you're
have
looking at
learned,
something like Dial maybe, but obviously
s-
with different content.
sort of, yeah. I think like when
Okay.
we've been doing the assignments, it's becoming
Mm-hmm.
very common at universities to have a dedicated module to like academic readiness.
Ah, okay. Now I understand. Yes, then you'll definitely have to include a bit of a motivation and then include all of that information. And you can put it under situational factors because it is relevant to the teaching and learning content and context. So yes, does that help? Make sense? Okay. Anybody else? So yeah, like I said, to Sunette, I will also, maybe you haven't had a chance to really start on your summatives yet, so still not too many questions. Maybe you're going to work on it over the weekend. So next week, in addition to the TLHE Q&A, we can do CURS questions as well. I mean, that's fine. As long as we just don't dominate with CURS and not give TLHE its attention. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So keep the questions coming. I'm still here. I'm just going to mute again. So, Kavi, obviously, because of your teaching context and experience, it came to light that a new module is needed in a qualification that or in a program that you are teaching in. So, perfectly fine if you are creating a new module. I just didn't want everyone else to get spooked in here and be like, "What? He's creating a new module." I didn't get that. I thought we had to just work on an existing module and make it like a whole bunch better. And then be like, oh, now I've got to go and think of a whole new module. So you can, of course, do it as you are doing. That's wonderful. It makes sense. It's possibly time for that in your faculty or in whatever qualification it's for. Then of course that makes sense. But if you currently are in a space and you have a module and for a while it's been bothering you, and you can now see how you can, rework it so that it just aligns better constructively and all those other things, then of course you can use that module. So I just wanted to make that clear so that everybody doesn't think that they have to create a brand new module. Okay.
Hello, evening, Dr. Naz. Sorry, just
Good
on
evening, Willard. How
on the
are you?
button, 7:30. I'm so sorry. I'm okay, thank you. And you?
Okay, it's not you. I told you 7:30, but when I did the planning, I set it up for 7. And I thought you would have noticed it in your calendar, but it's fine. We did our CURS Q&A session while we were waiting for you. Then once you're done, we can all call it
I'm
an early
sorry.
night.
I'm sure you were, did you Teams me and I was putting children to bed? I'm so sorry, everybody. I just had to
No, that's
type my.
quite okay. Like I said,
Oh,
we flipped it, so it ended up working out.
okay. Oh,
Can I
okay.
just introduce you, Willard, and then you can, if you need to share your screen and get started.
Okay, cool. I'll do the fast version. So do I have half an hour?
Yes.
How does everybody feel on this on the call? Hello, everybody. Okay, cool.
Okay. So introducing Willard Morgan, as you can see, he was the previous head of program for the Faculty of Education at the IIE Central Academic Team, and has since received a new title with, as you know, Varsity College being rebranded to Emirates. Willard now holds the title of Deputy Dean Education. Um, and because he's been so responsible and instrumental for a lot of the design and development, your hair looks absolutely perfect, Willard. I saw you just putting it right there. I thought Willard will be the best person to come in and speak to us a bit more about curriculum design and all the CHE and all those other things that come in and so on. So I'm going to hand over to Willard, and of course, it's very informal. This is based on the feedback that you provided in question 2 of the assignment. And like I said, I love that question for this reason. So very informal. If you have questions, throw them in the chat box. And Willard will get through them as he's going, or even if I know the answer, I can respond. But yeah, very, very informal. So yeah, let's keep it that way. You don't have to wait for the end to ask or comment. You can just do so as you're going along. So I hand over to Walad now. Your mic is muted.
So I'm too focused on rolling up my sleeves because it's so hot in Cape Town. Not used to it.
Scorcher.
It's a scorcher. Hello, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. And again, I'm so sorry if I'm glad you're able to flip it around. Um, wow, I won't leave my camera on for long, so it looks like I've got a halo vibe going on here, which I wasn't going for. Okay, hello, Pusisiwe. Is it Kavaran Kavi? Is it the same person, different person? Sounds so familiar. Kavi too. Peter, Diana Lombard. Hi, thumbs up to you too. Sinet. Um, is it Bhavna? Cool. Nice profile pic with your people. Danielle, Casey, hi everybody. I mean, if I had more time, I'd force you to do something to say hi or something more than a thumbs up. But thanks, Naz, Dr. Naz, for that intro. Yeah. So all those things, but I guess, I mean, first of all, I think I was always a teacher and then lectured in education for quite a while. I've been so excited. So now I'm like quite annoyed that I feel like I'm rushing through this now. For this, I mean, I've lectured quite a bit in my life, and again with Dr. Naz, and I've lectured a few modules together. Um, but I think I'm excited because it's the first time I'm allowed to go off script, which is like just a guest lecture, so just some freedom to talk. And I think that's so funny in relation to what we're talking about, like around curriculum. I was thinking because normally I would have an agenda page up and what we're going to go through for the day, and cover these learning units, these themes, which is kind of like how this thing is supposed to happen. But so I'm some freedom to just talk to you, I guess. Um, So it was quite stressful, like what to say, what images to use. Oh, Naz, I can't believe how much fun I had with. Is this thing going on and off on your side? Because my screen's a bit funny. Sorry if it's going a bit funny on your side.
No,
Yeah,
it's
so
perfect, Willard.
okay, yeah. So my image selection through Canva is quite intentional and was quite fun to play around with. And while doing some of this, because I think it's only my second time, I know I'm old, like playing around with Canva and then I was showing my son, maybe I'm gonna show you, I was just showing him like about like using Canva and the stuff you can like create nowadays. And this is important, I promise. This is gonna be relevant to whatever I'm saying. And then I said, do you want to make something? Do you want to think of something? And he said, yes. How about we create an image for, what did he call it? Um, he said a boat battleship with ants on an almond who are like at war with each other. And I really just want to show you what I'm trying to get at is what that looks like. And my point of that was this, I guess, is the world that you are going to be designing curriculum for. Anyway, while I scroll around for this image, um, and I guess that is the take that I'm gonna take on today. Um, if I was to start with the slide, I should actually start with the last slide first. And by that, maybe I can put my camera off now so that my eyes can bob around and look at the million things I want to look at. Sorry, let me just put that off. Okay. Yeah. So the perspective for me today was really you as the curriculum, I want to say leaders, almost half and half wanting to encourage you. I mean, I know that many of you are, look, the assumption is that you're in this program because you are interested in higher education in one shape or the other. Either you are lecturing or involved in some other aspect. And either way, I think the point that I want to make today is that you have a big role to play in curriculum development. And I know, I should put my camera on so you can see me laughing. I know what this module's like. I know how much theory is in here. And I know it's quite theory heavy. And so how do you get fun in curriculum design? I know it's a weird thing. Like, how do you merge the idea of having fun in this kind of very structured, formal designing a curriculum kind of space? Um, yeah, I do get that. But I mean, I think Dr. Naz would tell you like there is like fun within designing curriculum. Like there is some real, thinking something through, will this help for information to get through to students, to translate to students, for them to pick it up, and then watching that whole process unfold, designing the material, watching the learning, and then obviously, and that's why your feedback is always so important. And then looking at the feedback at the end, not just the marks, but the feedback, like, did you make a difference? And I think that speaks to, there's a section, I was looking through the MO, not quickly, but the last 2 days, that section on significant learning that you speak of. Um, and so I think I was talking about this image selection created by Canva and me trying to do prompts. And I was trying to portray the image of somebody looking, the people that are looking after, overlooking curricula that are often disjointed, which is, so I've come from a very intentionally like a very negative angle, not like to be negative, I'm not. But I think to make my point, so around for tonight's discussion, I thought we talk around, I think this is your last or somewhere in the last learning unit for this module around curriculum evaluation and kind of focusing on what goes wrong if we don't care about curriculum. So not to say what are the negative sides of bad curriculum, although that was what I put into Google initially. They say it's always important to start off with a big hook, like something that will like catch your audience. And I was trying to find something that would speak to like the impact of having a bad curriculum is what I was looking for. Like images. I wanted news headlines about I wanted to kind of juxtapose two images, of a bad, what happens to the bad curriculum, what happens to the good curriculum. And I couldn't find those. And I've been searching. So I mean, I've grabbed a few headlines about, you know, about listen over here, like, and I tried to use different. So this is in the UK on top here and around the course content, letting people down. Obviously, I put something in, sorry, about essay, sorry, about South Africa. Also looking at outdated curriculum over here, and then this little this course about the English teaching English. So I wanted to hit you with a bang in the beginning around, I guess, your role, whether you're a lecturer or not, whether you're higher up than a lecturer, you have a role to play in curriculum, and also because of where you come from. I mean, I know this is a very difficult qualification. I know we often get pushback in this qualification around how heavy it is. And I know you got TLHE, so teaching and learning, then you've got this, and you've got approaches to education. It all feels like so much, I guess, theory. Um, and I think it's important. I think it's important that we have people out there that know the theory. We need people out there that would lead in curriculum spaces. So whether you're designing the curriculum or not, or just making arguments about why a curriculum is bad, that you have got this knowledge, you know about a process model or a product-driven model. So you know about like what the theoretical side is. And so what I was looking for in my mind was images of, these like short courses, these online courses that are like fly by nights, and then the more established courses, and to kind of juxtapose those two images. And so where do you fit in terms of those images? Are you a where are you teaching? What should you be designing for? um and with that decision, and I'll get to this at the end, and that's where I'll go to. I'll first run through a few very not basic slides, very general slides first, very generic stuff now. And at the end, I want to go through, I'm going to flip screens quite a bit, so bear with me. Then I want to jump through something that I'm actually working on now. And I think that might give you some good insight, some very realistic insight into why your knowledge is important. Um, when they come down, I'm kind of trying to make it like this build up to this cool thing at the end, but it's not that cool when we get there. It's just like a report, an evaluation. So the CHE, the Council for Higher Education, is doing an audit, but they don't call it an audit anymore. Now you do a self-audit first, and then they review that, and they still kind of audit you anyway. So that's what I want to get to the end, to show you like how intense that is. It's a big project that we're working on now. And so yeah, I really want you to see how that unfolds at the end. Okay. So maybe should I pause there? So I feel like I've said a lot and a lot of nothing. Is there anyone that has any questions or anything in particular? Maybe you can put them in the chat, like Dr. Nas said, if there's anything. If I'm speaking too fast and you've lost me, that happens if I get excited. Please tell me to stop and repeat. I don't mind. Okay, so like I said, like it's a bit of a sounds like a bit of a negative way of approaching it. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually like a curriculum studies. I've learned more about curriculum in the last few years than in my studies, and maybe that's a good example to start with. I did PGCE. I mean, BCom, and I did PGCE. Um, and my PGC was really bad, and maybe I can go back. So when thinking about all these headlines, I thought actually the one good example, I don't know what the ages in the group on this call are, one good example of a bad curriculum. And I know because as a teacher in my PGCE, I was trained on this curriculum, but no one knew how to train us. So just, and I know you guys are higher education, but I couldn't find any good examples, so I'm going to use secondary. So the CAPS curriculum, which is currently in place, I don't know how many of you are, what your ages are. I'm looking at your profile pics, so some of you might be, I don't know, young parents, not parents. I'm not sure where any of you are at. Um, Dr. Naz, I don't know if you remember, do you remember OBE, the one that came before this? I mean, I know this is technically still OBE, they say, but the
Giving
one
my
that,
age away here,
no, no,
Willard,
no,
yes. Who
mind.
can forget OBE?
Exactly, exactly. I don't know, please. I wish someone else on the call knew OBE. Well, OBE was this disaster of a brain. I don't know where it came from. So before the curriculum that we have now in schools, we had this thing called outcomes-based education. I mean, we're still kind of based on that now, but the way it was approached was completely like super learner-centered, like everything, like it was learner, 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 but without giving them any of the content first, or any of the, like, it was crazy. So my point is, and that had to be revised, but before it was revised, they had to be criticized. And it needed informed people to be able to criticize and to change. Now, look, I've got nothing. I mean, this is not a political against anybody. Um, things, they have to keep changing. And I think that's an important part of curriculum design. I mean, that's what I was trying to, I can't find the picture now and I don't want to waste time. That's what making the example of my child and the AI picture. Like, I don't know who's going to design curriculum for those children. I mean, I'm glad it's not me. I think I'll be done doing that then. But I mean, he's young now, but when he's a lot older, who's going to be designing? I can't. It just seems like another world altogether. So my point is, and with all of you on the call, um, I think your theoretical knowledge has got a big role to play in informing curriculum design. Okay. Um, and I mean, you can see this now in some of the material, you know. I know I'm oversimplifying a lot of what you have learned in this course. And I'm not going to repeat any of what you have done in this course because there's a lot. So I'm really oversimplifying, even with my next slide as well. Um, so I mean, this is really, this slide only speaks to kind of post development, not before development. So what do you know about developing a curriculum? And I guess the big risk, and what I was trying to illustrate with the images from the different institutions, is obviously the institutional risk. So I don't know. I wish I had more time. I'd go around and ask you who you are, where you work, what you do, so that I could base the story around you. Um, but presuming that some of you are working in an institution, I mean, you've all heard about those, fly-by-nights. And the reason that they are fly-by-nights is that they don't go through the work, the hard work, which is the accreditation process where you've got to spell out who you are. So I'll show you some, like I said, I'll show you the intense questions now, and you'll see what I mean. The ability to answer some of these questions is what you've learned during this course. So how do you align your MOs, your module outcomes, learning outcomes to some kind of assessment criteria? How do you design a course? Um, Obviously, I'm not going to speak to all these risks. They're quite straightforward. So your institutional reputation, the employability of your students. So, and obviously, that's a big waste of money. It's a lot of money that goes into curriculum design. I mean, it's a big part of what we all do. I mean, in my role at the now Emirates institution. I think Dr. Naz has been involved in some of it, and she ran away from some of those meetings uh, because they're quite intense. I mean, we do probably about 2 4-hour meetings every week for like 3 or 4 months, with a group of people, 5 6 if not 8 people. It's like a program development team, we call it, to work on developing a qualification. So it's not overnight. There's a lot of work, and like I said, I want to run through this quickly so I can just show you a few practical silly examples. Okay. So, and just some examples of what I mean by poor design. Like I said, yeah, often it's outdated material, a lack of context, and rigid programs. So, I mean, maybe these images, I just like both images, so I keep them both. So, outdated material, this old structure over here, the desk, and the lack of context. For me, I know there are other reasons for poor design, and that's in this course, you've done a lot more theory than what I'm oversimplifying here. But when when we go to my little check my spreadsheet now, you'll see how, although these are three simple points, I hope you'll see how relevant those 3 simple points are and how they are fleshed out by the department or the council, the CHE, in terms of are you really speaking to these points in your course, in your curriculum zone. So I want to get there quickly. So some of these principles, around alignment, what we call constructive alignment, is it inclusive and is it co-created? Yeah, again, I wish I knew who you all were. So what are you doing? What are you working on? Because whether or not you're designing a full course or not, if you're new to the field, if you're experienced in the field, I think all of this is relevant, especially in the time that we are in, that my child can click on, or he can't do it yet, but he can design. I mean, we are asking students to create infographics, but why must they create infographics when the machine can create it for them? I mean, my child just had stick men on a boat ship battling ants on the sea floating on an acorn. And I just want to show you the image because it's so funny, but just so indicative of where we're going. Okay, I'm going to skip to this. So obviously principles, you covered more in-depth principles in your module, so I won't go there. But the important part was point number 3. So some recommendations moving forward for you. I'm not done by any means, so I'm just rushing through these slides. So obviously regular curriculum reviews. So, I mean, obviously before this, you have to design the curriculum before you get into reviewing it, and we'll talk about design now. But the idea is to, if you are, I don't know what institution you are in and what level or what entry point you are in, but I think at your point, you'd probably be, I don't know if you're designing brand new qualifications as yet, wherever you are. So regular reviews, that means feedback, getting feedback from students and all stakeholders. But number 3 is my most important for this session. I don't know what your space is, but I think your role as a leader in curriculum development is very important moving forward. Okay. I think that's the biggest thing I wanted to hit on. Now, I want to say fun stuff, but it's not like haha fun. But let's show you just a few random real things, and then I'll stop in the next few minutes if there are any questions. Okay. These are all rafts. I didn't want to give you anything that's official, so bear with me. It is a bit ugly and wild, and I can't share anything too official with you. So I'm just dragging it over. So I'll show you first like a little bit of work that goes into. See, just now, education is quite different in that we've got certain policy that governs what we design and develop. I think there are other faculties as well, like finance and accounting, with a very strict like regulatory requirements around what they can and can't do. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this document, so or you will be, which all comes from here, which I won't go through now in great detail. I just start like highlighting some points that I thought I would just speak to this document. I mean, I'm sure that some of you have read it already in this. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, I know you don't read it. So I'm looking for one thing in particular. So anyway, the CHE kind of guidelines, I will talk you through everything. So we were working on, for education, a new qualification. Can't show you all the details, but I thought let me show you some of it. I mean, this is still only a little bit of the work. I mean, it's really still not a big part of the work. So this is just laying out this is like the fun in the beginning and laying out all the modules. You'll see there's version 7, version 8, we went up to version 11. And that means looking through, so this is designing a new B.Ed program. So this looks like easy, just lay a few modules out. But unfortunately, all these modules and the credit weighting and the allocation is all governed by a document called, we call it Mr. Tech for short, but it's a minimum requirements of teacher education qualifications, MRTEQ. and that prescribes exactly the amount of credits you can give it. It's quite detailed. I won't go through it now. It sounds fun. It's a very boring looking policy document. And then to go through each of these modules and start breaking them up. So then we took like the education studies modules. So those are all the education studies modules. What do those look like? Introduction to education. What are the outcomes? You must build out the assessment criteria. Then there's a bit more to do than just that. And it goes on for each module. I just want to show you like this. I mean, this is one, not even one of those 4-hour meetings I was telling you about. Then that's a little bit of some of the mapping in the beginning, not at all the full mapping. I'll give you one more. Then we also have to look at what the credits. So at each learning, I know you've done this, you've done NQF levels, and just so you know where NQF level fits in. So in this qualification, NQF level 5, level 6, level 7, that's what we have to cover. And then we have a mandated amount of how many credits you can cover for each level, 5, 6, or 7 at each year. And you see this is just laying out the module. I'm just showing you the rough, so no one can tell you I showed you the official documents. But the other documents are quite pretty. So looking at all the modules, how we lay them out, how many credits per module, etc., etc., and then do they add up? I think they've got to add up to, this is a 480 credit qualification, the end, IP, CSP, 15. Okay. So that's all like the design stuff. There's a bit more, but I just couldn't find a good way to show you without getting in trouble. So I can't do it because I'm too scared. I asked the Aqua people if I could please use, those documents that we have, those ask documents. And so they said, no, 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 that's intellectual property. So you can't use that. So I want to show you some of that. I mean, that's still like really the bare minimum of what goes into the planning in those, like I said, those 4-hour meetings. But in terms of in my theme, I'm just looking at the time, sorry, of evaluation and I thought this would be a good example. So obviously you can do all, I saw on ARC, was it on ARC where I saw that you have a little evaluation checklist sorry, I don't like saying guys, that you should have worked through. Like as one of the ICE tasks, whatever, not ICE tasks, but one of the activities on ARC. I'm not sure if you did it or saw it. My point is that there are lots and lots of evaluation checklists. Lots of them are good, lots you can use. For us in our position, my position where I work, this is the official one, which I'm working night and day on, because the department wants answers. And if you can't answer the questions, you won't really lose your accreditation. But if you if you do really badly, they must take away your accreditation. So I won't read through all of this.
Willard, sorry, before you
Just
go on to the evaluation, Casey Lee's asked a very good question in the chat about curriculum design changes, and that she was told it's better to make small, careful updates that improve the program but keep its original structure and purpose intact. So you want to stay true to the original application so you don't have to go through the whole new CHE approval process again. Can you give us some comments about that, please?
nah, this is so weird. I can't even see. I don't have a chat. I've got no access to a chat. I've got
Oh,
people.
did you? That's so strange because
No, I think.
you wouldn't have come in with the guest link, and even if you did, you should still have access to the
Yeah,
chat.
I know. Because I shouldn't have been able to share my screen if I
Yes.
wasn't on the guest link. I've got no chat thing on top of my screen. I'm looking at it back and
Okay,
forth
so
like that.
I think
So
basically
I'll
it's
answer
just
this.
to ask, yeah, like, to what extent can you deviate from what you put down in your CHE
Oh,
documents?
in your
Yeah.
original accreditation.
Yes.
Um, wow. So good. Thank you. Thanks for that. It's a good one. Um, So number one, you can't change your module outcomes. So you can change your learning unit outcomes. So what you want to do, but your broad, I wonder if I can pull up. Let me see if I can just pull up and where's the curse one? Yes, curse would be great. 1 second. I'm just gonna put it up here. So, there's a few things, for example, you can't change because this is the essence of your module, is what you're trying to achieve. This over here. So your purpose and your outcomes you cannot touch. Otherwise, you must completely change the qualification. Cool. Non-negotiable, that is like what you're registered for. Whatever you do underneath that, so by that I mean assessments, if you want to change the assessments, because when you register your qualification, you must register with a certain assessment structure. You can change that. You can change, so like in the IIE space, we've got these manuals which are all quite clear, and in other institutions, also you get a course outline, etc. But to answer your question, so you can change these things. Over here, you can play around all you want to. So you can tweak this because this is what you are promising to deliver over here. This is what you're registered for. This is what you're going to do. How you are going to do that, you can change. And how you are going to do that, you can change up to 50%. So you can rejig this content. You can rejig, yeah, you can up to 50% of yours, you can change. That's actually like a process we're going through now, is we've got a report on any modules or any qualifications that have changed by more than 50%. But that's the qualification. And by that I mean the qualification itself. So if you want to add a new module, so maybe in this PG dip qualification, we want to get rid of curse altogether. We hate curse. Curse is everywhere. Curriculum studies is in all PG dip qualifications, so it's not going anywhere. But let's say you want to get rid of something like that, or get rid of the research project. So the research project is what, one of APP curse. What do you have? TLHE, TLHE. What's the other modules? I should know all of them. Anyway, so 50% would be if I changed half of the modules, or that kind of a change. And then I'd have to do something about it. You don't have to re-register the qualification, but you have to, yeah, there's a process to follow with the CHE. Does that
Well,
answer
a
the question?
follow-up question.
Yeah,
Change up to 50% a year or ever?
ever. I mean, a year is a lot. You have to probably report on that. Ever. Yeah, ever.
But obviously within that period, between your accreditation and your reaccreditation, then you have that bit of leeway to make tweaks and adjustments.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's major changes. Like now, I mean, we've made changes in this PG dip also. I mean, we've changed the module. We changed TLHE 8421 to 8411, from 8411 to 8421, and that was because we wanted to reduce some of the content in that module so that we could reduce, so there are changes like that we made to the qualification. Yeah, it just has to serve like at various boards, and you have to notify CHE, lots of, but yeah, I don't know if I've answered you all together.
Yes,
Cool.
thanks, Willard. You
50%.
can
Okay,
move on.
cool.
Thank
I'm almost
you.
done. No worries. Okay, so now I was just to show you, like, I like this. I mean, it's horrible on the eye. It's an Excel spreadsheet. I don't like that, but I do want to show you these questions. I think it'll give you some real context. Context, I think, for what you're doing was my point of this whole session, of whether you're not the curriculum specialist at all or not, but if you are involved lecturing or whatever other role. I mean, ideally the PG dip is for those looking to lecture or lecturing, etc. So you still have a role to play in curriculum development if you are touching the curriculum. You must feedback, you must give comment, you must give input. Okay. So obviously this one, it's got this SER on top here. It's a self-evaluation. I'm gonna make you sick and just scroll up and down very quickly so you can see how much there is. But I'm gonna show you the detail of the questions next. So these are, I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, but put it this way, when people tell you your report cannot be longer than 150 pages, I mean, don't you want to freak out? Like, not longer than 150 pages. So you're saying it could be 150 pages? So this is kind of this is really curriculum around the qualification. I'll get into the detail now. Yeah, I'm still scrolling, still scrolling, still scrolling. Okay. I'll just go
Willard, while
through.
you're scrolling, I just wanted to say, if you think it's complex preparing this document, sitting on the other side of it as the evaluator of this document and working with Mr. Tech alongside that is even more complex. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, that's fine.
So I think the one side is, preparing everything, and then the other side is looking at it from the perspective of the evaluator, who's actually, yeah, gonna have to look at this and work through it. It's quite a task.
I'm not going to be nice to you evaluators now. No, 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 no. I'm not going to be nice to you guys now. Everyone must choose their lane right now. I'm complaining that you're asking me. It's so much to do. But I mean, it's so much to read. It feels like all a crazy process. But I think
No,
it
it
is,
is. It
yeah, but
really,
it's
really is.
necessary.
And the first time, and I said this in actually one of an interview that I was doing, and I was asked about Mr. Tech, and I said the first time I heard about Mr. Tech, I thought it was a man that they were speaking about. And honestly, had it been a man, I would have been happier because it would have been less complicated. Yeah, it is one really, really treacherous document to work through. So, yeah, respect to everyone here who's going to have to do this.
Yeah, I take that on. I take that on. Okay, make this a bit more visible. If I do that, I'm trying to show you this block over here, the ones with the questions in it. That's what I want to focus on very quickly, and then I'll let you go. So I'll just do 3 examples, 2 or 3, and then I guess if there are any questions. Okay. Um, so like I said, this is the CHE is trying, the council is trying to change their approach to evaluation. So it's not like, oh, the inspector's coming to do an audit and everyone's in trouble, which is, I think, the right way to do things. But so now you've got to self-evaluate yourself. Hectic, because now you must be, then obviously there is a follow-up and they check your records, they do an audit, a different kind of audit. Um, but I want you to look at I'm going randomly now. I thought I'd go through a few more. Um, okay, so let's look at something like we talk about diversity. Like, so in my fun slides, which are where now? Ugh. Anyway, in my fun slides over here, I was talking about the importance. Like, I mean, it sounds so simple, How do we look at issues of diversity, for example, in our slides? How do we do that? And that sounds so nice and so fluffy on my slides. But if you look at this, so there's more diversity stuff. Um, so look at 5.3.1, the important role of language in teaching and learning across the curriculum, in particular language learned from birth, bilingual pedagogies, and in ways different languages can be used to enable learning through translanguaging, code switching, and multilingualism, and appropriate use of subject-specific discourse and terminology in the subject story. So you have got to evidence, I have to evidence if this is happening in the B.Ed qualification. That whole mouthful I just read to you now. Um, Next one, 5.1.4. Principles, policies, and relevant strategies underpinning inclusive education, which includes barriers to learning, diversity, in the identification through reflection of social issues, yada yada. But I mean, I mean, that's just some of one of the what they call the professional standards. So there's that. Um, so so much. I want to give you one more that just hits home my point, and then I'll let you go. So explain with specifics. So I'm looking at 5 point specific reference to the phases and involve appropriate references to the curriculum map, how the program addresses the following graduate attributes to show that the graduate understands and is able to. So in the B.Ed now, 5.2.3, are they familiar with teaching methods and such? That's an easy one to prove, so you can go to the textbook and I can say, in this module, SFTL, in this module, they do teaching strategies, and I can evidence that. So yeah, I just wish I could show you the amount of work that's going into this, but let me get away from the slide before I get in corporate espionage trouble. Okay, Dr. Naz and company, I go on for longer, but I want to be mindful of people's time in case anybody is already if I'm already on borrowed time. Shall I open up to questions from anybody?
Yes, we do have a question
Sorry.
from Peter. Do you think that oh, I love this question, Peter.
Oh, goodness.
Do you think that private institutions are under more scrutiny from the industry in terms of their students' employability, given the fact that university status is so difficult to attain? Yeah, I really like that question. Willard, what do you think?
Yeah. I heard someone on the radio. I heard someone the other day, one of these Donald Trump disasters saying, why did they not say off the record? So I'm going to say off the record so that you cannot use this on the record. Wow. Yeah, privates are under major scrutiny. I mean, I feel, I mean, I worked at the public for quite a while. Yeah, I've got a history with publics, so, whew, um, our employability numbers are so high and we can prove it and demonstrate it. I don't think publics can as well as we can. And this is not a me, public versus private. I don't actually like the debate, but I mean, the debate exists. Um, I'm just speaking to fact. We can evidence we can evidence our student employability, like, factual. I'm not saying that all institutions can't, but most can't, not factually, no. They can't demonstrate that they have got. So, are we under scrutiny because of employability? No. I think we'll always be under scrutiny because we are private, and private means prof. Can I say that loud without being in trouble? Private means profit. Swear word. Private means profit. Um, and I think that's my opinion. That's like where the danger will always come in. Um, but I mean, I come from public, and I don't think that profit is a difference. I mean, I was at the public, and the service was not, was not half as good as what students get in the private space. So does that then make it okay that you paid for better service or better administration, better responses from lecturers versus lecturers who don't, so back and forth, so many debates around this. But to answer your question, I do not think that employability is the reason that we are under such scrutiny. I was just reading something today. We had a presentation for like our education space. We every year we place between 11 and we're now up to 11 and almost the 13,000 students in schools every year. I don't know if you know that one, Nats, of our students between the two brands. I mean, that is more than any institution that I know of. So yeah,
That's
I mean,
incredible, Willard.
it's a lot. Yeah.
We have another very interesting question. When it comes to evaluating, updating, and making changes, how are you finding it to keep up to date? And I love this question with all the tech improvements and trying to future-proof as well. How we assess and teach has arguably changed more in the past 3 years than the previous 30.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. My honest answer, who's keeping up? No
Who's
one's keeping
keeping
up.
up?
No, we're catching up because I mean AI is faster than us, and I think we are catching up. I think catching up with an approach that is different. We're not catching up to get ahead of it, but we're catching up to kind of understand. So I mean, I think people are fine. The debate is happening. I think it started a few months ago. Um, and it's essentially, are you welcoming AI or are you trying to, are you living in denial? You know, so the denialist, I know some people were running towards like, okay, we'll go back to everything's going to be, all exams will be written in a venue, you know, unseen exam. You'll sit down and you'll write an exam. That's how we'll assess you. No more anything different because then we know it's you, you know. So that nonsense is still going on. Many institutions, big institutions. And what are we doing? I think we're still at the I mean, some of us, I'm winking kind of at myself and Dr. Naz, so cheeky, like we're clever. But some of us are trying, to find ways not around it, but with it in terms of how material is designed. And I can't like say too much here, it just sounds weird, but like different ways of designing learning experiences. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Different ways to design learning experiences. Um, I don't know if I've answered your question. Did I answer that? Did I miss something? I feel like I haven't answered it.
No, most definitely you have. I think when you said that it's not possible for us to keep up, but just to perhaps embrace as much as possible. Because at the end of the day, if and having done TLHEA with this group, we went through, the whole Gen Z and all of their needs and requirements, and it just aligns. So having those sit down exams it might possibly help with the problem of unethical AI use, but then it brings in that whole other level of complexity where you're not catering to your students' needs and learning styles and preferences and so on. And then that just defeats everything that we have learned thus far, not just us as a group, but in terms of the broader education academic field, in terms of what we have learned about constructive alignment and how teaching and learning needs to take place. So the best is, I think, as Willard has said, not to try and hide from it and go back to the old, but to embrace it and find ways to implement it without obviously getting too carried away and losing track of the basics. So we need to have that balance. Yeah. Are there any other
Yeah.
questions? I'm not seeing anything else coming through. If anyone wants to unmute and say anything, that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah, I think while they're doing that, yeah, just to add that it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows, has there been a time like this, like was rightly said, more has been created in the last 30 years? I don't think
Mm.
there's been a time like that. So for those of you, that's why I said in the beginning, that's kind of where I came from with this conversation. Those of you on the call, I mean, I'm not saying good luck, like in the flippant way, like, oh, go out there and good luck. I think you've got a very important role to play. If you've got a solid theoretical understanding, theoretical, then you can use AI and you can use all of this to create meaningful experiences, but not like those fly by nights, I mean, oh, I find maybe this is a good way to end this. I finally found the thing. Like if you
Oh,
are
there it
teaching,
is.
I found it. If you are teaching for these kids, I mean, it's just crazy that they can create this in like 2 minutes. So what? Not even 2 minutes, a minute of like the AI creating it. And this is just like, I don't know where he came up with this, but I think it's amazing. So
Wow.
yeah, it's not him, but I mean, just the idea to prompt is, so how do you capture that prompt? I don't know, people, but it's gonna be a fun ride, is all I know. It's gonna be a fun ride. If they don't take over, it's gonna be fun.
That is absolutely incredible. The possibilities are endless, and
Yeah.
we just need to obviously leverage it. Yeah, as best we
Mm,
can.
yeah.
Bullard, is there any final thoughts that you'd like to share before we close?
No, I mean, with ants on an acorn on the screen. No, no, I love and leave you. I thank you all for your time. I hope this was like a little bit of something either interesting, meaningful, or just most importantly to remind you that your work is important. Yeah. Whichever space you're in. Good luck out there. Shout if you need. I don't know what I can help with. Shout at Dr. Nas if you need something.
Most definitely. And you know, Bullard, as much as the students have enjoyed and benefited, I think for myself it was also a learning curve, just the importance of having a different voice and a different perspective. So I thank the students who made the suggestion, and yeah, I'm glad we tried, albeit quite late at the end of semester. I think the timing actually worked out quite nicely.
Yeah,
It
we should
brought
do more.
everything, yeah, to a very nice close. And I'm definitely feeling quite good about this, and will definitely be implementing more such initiatives.
Yeah, I think we should get some
So
aqua in this, some aqua people to sit down and do a session also with them.
yes,
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
and
Sorry,
some of
aqua is
the
the
tech people.
yeah, it's
Aqua is
the
the quality management. Yeah.
accreditation and quality. So they go out and they do the actual accreditation. We do the work and they go to the government.
Yeah, I also was hoping, but we at the end to get somebody in to come and showcase all the different technology tools that can be leveraged for teaching and learning. That will also have been quite exciting. So it's definitely something that I've noted down for future students. And it's all because of the wonderful feedback from you. So thank you. And thank you very much, Willard, for your time. And I'm sure you want to get to the little one, so we won't keep you any much longer. And everybody else here who wants to go and top up that something strong that I suggested you pour when we started.
Oh,
Go
shame for
top up
me.
the
Oh,
coffee.
shit. Oh, coffee. Oh, coffee.
Yeah, coffee. I was speaking about coffee a lot. So have a lovely evening, everybody, and then I will see you next week, students, not Willard. Next week at 7:30 for TLHE part 3 Q&A. And like I said, we'll allow time for questions for CURS as well. So once again, thank you very, very much, Willard, and thank you everyone for attending and engaging. And I'll see you next week for our last session. Okay, good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Nat. Bye, bro.
Bye.